everyone, today we are going to combine two of my favorite areas of math, geometry and algebra. So of course I have to have something corny to start off with for you. You can see the triangle there saying to the circle, "You're pointless," and the circle saying, "That's how I roll." So to start our lesson today, we have to learn that the sum of all three angles in a triangle will always add up to 180 degrees. It doesn't matter what type of triangle you have or what size triangle you have, the sum of the angles will always measure 180 degrees. So we can use that truth to find a missing angle. If we know two of the angles, we can find that third missing angle because we can add those two angles together that we do know and subtract them from 180 degrees to find the one that we don't know. We can apply our algebra skills to this. We can make our algebraic equation by taking the sum of all three of the angles, the two we know, 54 plus 101 plus x, and making that sum equal to 180. Then our process will be to add the 54 and the 101, and then we're going to subtract that sum from both sides of our equation here. So the sum of 54 and 101 is 155. So we know that 155 plus the angle we don't know would have to equal 180. And then we click in with our algebra here, subtract 155 from both sides, and we see that our missing angle then is 25 degrees. Okay, our second example here then, we know the angles of 35 and 90. We didn't know A, so we're going to add those three, 35 plus 90 plus A will give us a sum of 180 degrees. We find that 35 plus 90 is 125, so 125 plus A would equal 180. And then we're going to use our algebra skills and subtract 125 from both sides of this equal sign and find out that the missing angle is 55 degrees. Now we'll move on to quadrilaterals here. So the sum of the four angles in a quadrilateral, doesn't matter what shape or size quadrilateral it is, as long as it has four angles and four sides that are connected, is going to sum up to 360 degrees. Now, the biggest problem here is kids remembering, is the quadrilateral 360 or is the triangle 360? Which one's 360? And so I always like to think of the fact that the quadrilateral has more angles, so it has to be a bigger sum, it has to be 360, whereas the triangle has less angles, so it's going to be the smaller sum. Notice that the triangle, 180, is half of 360, so that's another way to kind of remember that, because really if you put two triangles together, you can make a quadrilateral. So a triangle is simply half of a quadrilateral. All right, so let's look at how we would do the same thing that we did with triangles, but with quadrilaterals now. Okay, so for my first quadrilateral, I knew the three angles 107, 124, and 43. I didn't know my C. So I took those four angles, added them together, and set them equal to 360. 107, 124, and 43 sum to 274, and I still have that plus C hanging on. So I use my algebra skills and subtract 274 from both sides, and I find out that the missing angle is 86 degrees. Just a reminder that you can always check these. I could add these four angles together to make sure that they actually add up to 360. And of course with my triangles, I could add the three angles together to make sure they add up to 180. All right, let's look at our last example. All right, last example here. So we have a quadrilateral, so we know that it is going to sum to 360 degrees. We take our 76, our 77, and our 151 plus our D, and we set that equal to 360 degrees. We find the sum of the three values that we know, which sum up to 304, and we're going to subtract those from the 360 to find the one that we don't know. So algebra kicks in here. We subtract 304 from both sides, and we find out that the angle that we don't know here, D, is equal to 56 degrees. All right, I hope you find this as straightforward a lesson as I do. Again, I love working with the algebra and the geometry. It's just good fun for me, so I hope you like it too. And go on to do some practice with this, and I'll see you in the next lesson.